Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. Robert Saleh, wake up early morning, it's cold outside. Robert Saleh to the Tennessee Titans to be their head coach. Had to pinch myself because this is so similar to Mike Vrabel, Tennessee. This is so similar to Mike Vrabel, New England this past season, and I love it. And Cam Ward's a talented QB, folks. Don't get it twisted. Cam Ward is a talented QB, but nobody watched Titans games this season because they won 3 of them, and I feel like people started to realize Cam's rookie season was going very quietly in the sense of like, oh, when you watch Cam Ward play football, he actually looks pretty solid. But the Tennessee Titans don't look solid. So last month or so of the season, I felt like Cam Ward hype, finally, we finally started to see some Cam Ward mentioning in the media world. And, I know Vrabel already coached for the Tennessee Titans, but it just, this move feels so similar where you go out there, you get a defensive-minded head coach, you've got, a talented rookie quarterback from what we saw, and now it's just time to get this defense back on track, and it's time to shore up the rest of the roster, build up this roster from the bottom, get it back to some relevancy. So, Titans fans, I hope you guys are excited. I haven't made a Titans video over on Will Upton in months, and I apologize because I would see people asking for a Cam Ward video all the time, but we will do it. I will do it. Don't worry. I'm also going to post a Robert Saleh Titans video probably in the next couple of days. But all right, let's see here. I've got some excerpts. Saleh, 46, served as the head coach of the New York Jets from 2021 until his firing midway through the 2024 season. He went 20-36, which isn't good, in the 3+ seasons with the Jets. No playoff experience, no playoff appearances, I should say. Bad quarterbacks. But Robert Saleh's defense were really good, and I don't know, I feel like it's kind of clear, like this year, Aaron Glenn and Justin Fields were just horrible. I mean, it was horrible. The Jets are like going backwards some way, somehow, and I felt like the Saleh firing was extremely premature a couple of years ago. Maybe Aaron Rodgers probably had a say in that, but Robert Saleh is one heck of a coach. He's a leader of men, and he knows what he's doing on the defensive side of the football. He was an offensive consultant a little bit for my Green Bay Packers 2 seasons ago, and then this past year obviously was the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. His second stint. I've got 2 things before we delve into this discussion here. The Titans need a boost defensively after ranking 5th worst in points allowed in 2025, so that's why I keep saying Robert Saleh might have been the perfect hire for this team. You would think, myself included, that Callahan would come on over and he's got all this offensive experience and he's got all this offensive experience, and it just didn't work out. And I don't place it all on Callahan. He didn't seem ready necessarily for a head coaching gig. The moment just seemed a little bit too big. The roster's not ideally where you wanted it to be. The whole Will Levis experiment, kind of a complicated deal, and, they weren't able to make it work, Callahan and Ward, this season, and, just watching it on TV, watching it on the screens, tension, it was just kind of an odd relationship, and so it's time to move past him, obviously, but I'm curious what happens to his career as far as head coaching goes, because he did such a good job with Joe Burrow. He did such a good job with, Mason Rudolph. But anyways, it just didn't work out. So you enter this offseason with $100 million in cap space projected, which is the most in the league. All right, so the Tennessee Titans have the most amount of money in free agency this offseason as it stands right now. And they've also got the 4th overall pick. So, folks, let's talk about the Titans in general here. But before we do, if you guys wouldn't mind hitting that like button, hit that sub button as well. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers. Ideally would love it to be the end of January, but not too many people are watching these videos quite yet. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for watching. A sub goes a very long way. The Titans are an interesting team because, Jacksonville, for example. Jacksonville and Houston were 2 teams who had really hot second halves, so I would watch a lot of live Texans games. I'd watch a lot of live Jaguar games. was watching a lot of AFC football this past season, and I would always pick the Titans game if Jacksonville or Houston was playing them because I had a feeling Houston or Jacksonville was going to beat them, and I was going to be able to post a video, and it would just be an easy, relaxing watch. And I'm, kind of making fun of your team last season, and I hope you don't take it personally, but Tennessee, it just wasn't there. And so this is a little nitpicky, but like Chig Okonkwo led the team in reception yards. That should never happen with a rookie QB. Like, I get it. Maybe if Chig was like Trey McBride, maybe if he was Brock Bowers, and he's a talented dude. He just had a good season, another good season. He's so consistent. He's been so consistent, and people don't really know him because first off, it's Titans football, and then like he's not like a crazy fantasy football guy. He's not having 1,000-yard seasons with 100 catches and Trey McBride and Brock Bowers numbers, but he's super solid. He's super consistent, but he led the offense with 56 catches for 560 yards. You got a rookie dang quarterback. That can't be happening. So, Elik Eomanor looked awesome. He was, I believe, number 2 in receiving yards. I really like Chimere and the whole Calvin Ridley injury, but the whole Calvin Ridley situation just didn't work out. Cam Ward, Calvin Ridley, didn't work out. Nothing crazy there. Van Jefferson, we know what he is at this point in his career, and that wide receiver room was lacking. And so, it was really cool seeing the special teams and the punt returns and the all-purpose yards. It was cool seeing Elik have a couple of, consistent, nice weeks. It was cool seeing like Cam Ward throw for like 250 or whatever and see some statistics in that wide receiver room. But that's what this team needs to do this offseason, which they tried to do this past offseason with Van Jefferson and with Calvin Ridley, but it's just not panning out. And I think they're gonna find a way to get rid of Calvin Ridley and save some money here. Once again, I wouldn't be surprised if they trade out of that 4th overall draft pick, but I have wide receiver. You know what? Let me pull up something. I had this this thing over on NFL or ESPN. They were doing like off seasons for every NFL team, and their big prediction for Tennessee's off season was the Titans will make a huge splash by signing George Pickens in free agency. Pickens ranked 4th in ESPN's receiver scores this season, 3rd in my DYAR values among wide receivers. Schatz wrote it. I don't know who that is, but my point is, you've got so much money, and so did New England last season, that, we all have our opinions on George Pickens. I think he's one super talented wide receiver, and whether it's Dallas or Tennessee or whoever it is, they're going to be paying him a bunch of money. Whether Tennessee decides to go in that route or otherwise, we'll see what they decide to do, but I'm anticipating a splash move. Chig's a free agent, isn't he not? Chig's a free agent, so maybe they do something at tight end. Maybe they do something. They're gonna do something at wide receiver. Just don't know. Is it gonna be a George Pickens type of deal, or is it more like your Keenan Allens or like? Oh man, I had a good one off the top of my head that I of course forgot, but you get what I'm saying. And then the rest. Build up the bottom of this roster, man. You've got enough cap space to go out there and get your splashes. Splash wide receivers, splash edge, splash linebacker, whatever it is. And then what you want to do is build up the bottom of this roster. And that's what I fully anticipate Robert Saleh is going to do specifically immediately with this defense because, there's talent on this defense. I really like Kevin Winston Jr., the rookie. T'Vondre Sweat, Jeffrey Simmons, Gray, Cody Barton, Amani Hooker, Xavier Woods, L'Jarius Sneed. Man, I need to see what their I should have pulled up their free agent list. We should have just done a whole Titans offseason video. I'll save all that kind of stuff later, though I guess the purpose of this was Robert Saleh. It's time to just get the train back on the tracks. Tennessee was... Like, when I was in college, that was when you guys were doing your thing, making the AFC Conference Championship game, winning the divisions, having that first-round bye, beating my Green Bay Packers. Like, when I was in college, Tennessee was, they were an interesting team with Ryan Tannehill and Mike Vrabel at the helm and King Derrick Henry. And the last few years have not been that. And the Will Levis experiment's over, and now we're moved on to Cam Ward, and it's a really good place to be, man. I think Cam Ward, if you were watching him, it's almost like a Tyler Shuck thing with the New Orleans Saints, but, maybe Shuck's statistics were probably a lot better. I think he also finished with a winning record, but it's similar in the sense of, like, when you watch these guys play, they look talented. Cam Ward looks like he's going to have, a nice career, a nice, fine, at least, career here in the NFL. Offensive coordinator is going to be next for Robert Saleh, and I'm always preaching speed and time, being aggressive, and I liked Tennessee making this move in general because Harbaugh just got hired, Kevin Stefanski just got hired, Jeff Hafley just got hired yesterday. There's like 9 total head coaching vacancies heading into this season, and guys go quick. And then, Harbaugh's gotten hired, so he wants his coordinators. Stefanski's gotten hired, so he wants his coordinators. So you go out there, you got your guy, his name's Robert Saleh, and now Robert Saleh is going to go find his coordinators and his staff. They're going to build up that staff, and then they're going to get into this offseason. I've got an article here from Music City Miracles from Jimmy Morris. I'll just rattle off these potential offensive coordinators that he said. Mike McDaniel could have been the head coach for the Tennessee Titans, and I would have been that would have been really cool. You know what? I'll say if the Tennessee Titans, if they just hired Robert Saleh and they end up getting Mike McDaniel as their offensive coordinator, I might lose my mind. I might actually lose my mind, but I guess there are some rumors that he wants to or would love to coach with Robert Saleh. I still kind of feel like a team is going to give him a head coaching gig. I kind of feel like he's going to take a head coaching gig. I feel like it's a long shot for whether you're talking about, Detroit before they hire Drew Petzing or any of these teams. It just seems like a long shot, but that would be very exciting. I see Brian Dable's name on here. That would be super interesting, what he did with Josh Allen over in Buffalo before the Giants coach. Looks like my Wi-Fi just crashed. That's awesome. Adam Stenavich, my Green Bay Packers offensive coordinator. That would certainly be interesting. He's got a little bit of rapport with Matt LaFleur, or Saleh's got rapport with LaFleur. Stenavich, LaFleur, head coach, offensive coordinator. Robert Saleh was with us for the 2024 postseason. You've got Bobby Slowick here, the Dolphins senior passing game coordinator who used to be the OC for the Houston Texans. Not a huge Bobby Slowick guy. And then finally we got Mike LaFleur, Rams offensive coordinator. I think any of these 6, is it 5? Any of these 5 would be awesome. And I feel like there's been an offensive coordinator hired other than Drew Petzing, and I just cannot think of it. But I could be completely wrong. And by the time you watch this video, there will probably be a new head coach hired and a new offensive coordinator hired. But it seems like Tennessee's got a really good pick right now of guys who, you've got a couple of head coaches hired now. The options are dwindling. New York's gone, right? Atlanta's gone. I'm missing a fat one. Miami's gone. Whatever. Losing the plot here, folks. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts on Robert Saleh to the Tennessee Titans. I love it. I'm going to go ahead and give it an A. But stay tuned, and once again, hit that sub button if you like this style of content. Posting these every single day on this channel and trying to get to 100 subs. So thank you for watching. We'll see you soon. Peace.